Okay, in this lesson we're going to learn about taking a picture and turning it in. So the first thing to know is that we can treat this viewport as if it was a camera. I can just come on over here to this render production, it's the teapot right over here, click on it, and it will take a picture. But this picture is a little bit random in that I have not set up my viewport. As you will see, my viewport was much more rectangle than this picture. What this has is an old-fashioned TV screen resolution, like those old big boxy TVs. Whereas this viewport, it has, well, it has any aspect ratio that you give it. So what we want to do is we want to control that. What you'd want to do is you'll go over here to the render setup. The render setup is the teapot with the little gear. In render setup, you'll come over here to where it says custom. In the drop down menu, select HDTV. Now this will give you the same aspect as what you see on your phones, on YouTube, or on your television. And it gives it in full HD. We probably don't want to work in full HD because it will slow things down. So instead, maybe a good working rendering is 48 by 270. And you can see that changed the amount of pixels. Okay, so from here, I could render it, or I could render it in my render production button. Let's see what happens when I render it from here. Not bad. The picture is pretty much what I see, but I'm not sure if it's exactly what I see. And I want to have a picture of exactly what I see. So what I have to do is set up safe frames. I'm going to go over here to these drop-down menus. And where it says perspective, hovering over it, it turns golden. Drop it down, and you'll see down here, show safe frames. Now there's a keyboard shortcut for this. See, Shift F. Just like there are keyboard shortcuts for many things. Remember these? P for perspective, T for top, F for front, and L for left. All right. So here we go. This is show safe frames, Shift F. And you can see it changed just a little bit. This now, what I see is what I get. So for instance, let's move this over. You'll see, even though my viewport, the size of it has changed, this aspect has not. And when I take a picture, what I see is absolutely what I get. And that's what we want. Okay, now that we know how to do save frames, and by the way, remember this, Shift F. Shift F. Okay, but now that we've got that set up, let's go ahead and take a picture for real. We're going to turn it in this time, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And generally speaking, with our projects, I want to see the outcomes. I don't need to necessarily see the max file, although I will be able to look at that if we need to. Okay, let's render the picture. If I go over here to my render production, I've got it set up for 480 by 270, which is great to work in. But when you turn it in, I want you to turn it in at 1280 by 720. That's basically HD for YouTube. And from there, we could either click here, or we could click up here and take a picture. You'll see it's a little bit larger now. But it's still exactly the same aspect ratio as what we had. Oh, also notice those things that were gray are no longer gray. Next thing we want to do is save the image. Right over here, we've got an old-fashioned floppy disk icon for saving. Click on that. Okay, it's going to show you maybe the last place you saved. for instance, let me show you exactly where I want you to save. If you go to Computer, and then you go to your T drive, you might have less drives than I do. I'm a teacher, so I have a few more. But you have a T drive, and then you have your student drive. So go to the T drive, double click on that, go to Art, double click on that, and depending on which class you're in, you'll go into your folder, and I'll have a folder set up for the project. This one's first project. So go into there, give the project your last name, mine is Kuhn, your first name, mine is Robert, the period number, let's say we're in P1, you could be in P3, and the name of the project. We'll just call this one first project. The format is JPEG. Right here. Right down in the middle, JPEG. And that's your standard picture format. That's when you see images on your phone. When you take pictures with your phone, that's probably taken a JPEG. And then we'll just say save. When this comes up, you just say OK. And there it is. That's all there is to it. So if we were to go into our drive, you will see that we now have a JPEG picture in here. If we were to click on that, it'll open. And this picture will open pretty much in any device that you could think about. And that's why I want you to save things, the end product, the work, whether that's a picture or a video, is because in the end, that's what it's all about. None of us have Macs on our phones. We can't open up Macs files on our phones, but we can all open up JPEGs, and most of us can open up videos. All right, well, that's our first project. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll get a lot fancier after this.